The air was thick with the scent of sandalwood and marigolds. The village market was bustling with life, vibrant colors of flowers and spices creating a tapestry of tradition and culture. The sun cast a golden hue over the marigolds, making them glow like tiny suns themselves. It was a typical day in the village, yet for Abhi, it was anything but ordinary. Abhi touched his mother's feet, her tears a warm blessing on his forehead. She had always been his pillar of strength, her silent prayers and unwavering support guiding him through every challenge. Her eyes, filled with a mixture of pride and sorrow, spoke volumes. She knew this day would come, yet nothing could prepare her for the moment of parting. His father, a weathered farmer, stood tall, pride shimmering in his eyes. Years of toil under the scorching sun had etched deep lines on his face, but today those lines seemed softer, filled with hope. He had always dreamed of a better life for his son, one that went beyond the fields and the village. Today, that dream was taking its first step towards reality. Leaving the village was never easy. The narrow paths, the familiar faces, the simple yet fulfilling life, all of it was a part of Abhi's very being. Every corner of the village held a memory, every face a story. The dawn light bathed the village in a soft glow, as if nature itself was bidding him farewell. Yet Abhi carried the weight of their hopes and dreams on his young shoulders as he boarded the rickety bus. The old bus creaked and groaned, much like the village itself, resilient yet weary. With each step he took towards the bus, he felt the weight of his responsibility grow heavier. He was not just leaving. He was embarking on a journey that held the promise of a brighter future for everyone he loved. He was their beacon of hope, the first to pursue higher education in the bustling city. The city, with its towering buildings and endless opportunities, was a world away from the simplicity of the village. Abhi's heart raced with a mix of excitement and fear. He knew the road ahead would be challenging, but he was ready to face it head-on. The village, with its emerald paddy fields and the familiar murmur of the river, receded into the distance. The landscape that had been his entire world was slowly being replaced by the unknown. The rhythmic sound of the bus wheels on the dusty road was a constant reminder of the journey he was undertaking. Each mile brought him closer to his dreams, yet farther from the life he had always known. Abhi clutched his worn bag, his heart heavy with the bittersweet ache of departure. The bag, a gift from his father, was a symbol of their humble beginnings and the sacrifices made for his future. Inside it were not just clothes and books, but the hopes and dreams of an entire family. Every stitch in the fabric told a story of love, struggle, and unwavering faith. He was leaving behind the only world he knew, venturing into the unknown. The village, with its comforting familiarity, was now a distant memory. Abhi's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. He was excited about the future, yet nostalgic about the past. The journey ahead was uncertain, but he was determined to make the most of it. But the city beckoned, promising knowledge and a brighter future. The skyline, with its towering buildings, was a stark contrast to the village's humble homes. It was a land of opportunities, where dreams could be realized. Abhi's heart swelled with hope as the bus approached the city. He knew that this was his chance to make a difference, not just for himself, but for his entire village. As the bus rumbled along the dusty road, Abhi closed his eyes. The rhythmic motion of the bus was almost soothing, a temporary escape from the whirlwind of emotions inside him. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. The journey was long, but it was a journey worth taking. He thought of his parents, their faces etched with a mixture of anxiety and expectation. Their sacrifices, their dreams, their unwavering support. It all came flooding back to him. He could almost hear his mother's prayers and feel his father's reassuring hand on his shoulder. They had given him everything, and now it was his turn to give back. He remembered his father's words, "Study hard, son. Make us proud." Those words were more than just advice. They were a lifeline, a beacon guiding him through the unknown. They were a reminder of his purpose, a source of strength in moments of doubt. Abhi knew that no matter how tough things got, he had to keep going. The words resonated in his heart, a constant reminder of his purpose. They were a promise he had made to himself and to his family. Abhi's determination grew stronger with each passing moment. He was not just a boy from a village. He was a young man on a mission, ready to conquer the challenges that lay ahead. He was determined to succeed, to return to his village not just as Abhi, the boy who left, but as Abhi, the man who had conquered the city and carved a better life for himself and his family. The city was just the beginning, a stepping stone towards a brighter future. With a heart full of hope and determination, Abhi stepped off the bus, ready to embrace the journey ahead. The city hit Abhi like a whirlwind. The moment he stepped off the train, he was engulfed by the sheer magnitude of it all. The noise, the people, the pace. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced in his small village. The city seemed to have a life of its own, pulsating with energy and chaos. Skyscrapers scraped the sky, dwarfing everything he knew. These towering giants of steel and glass were a stark contrast to the humble homes he was used to. They seemed to touch the heavens, making him feel both insignificant and inspired. The city was a testament to human ambition, a place where dreams were built and shattered. The cacophony of traffic, the relentless energy, both thrilled and intimidated him. The honking cars, the bustling crowds, the constant movement, it was a symphony of chaos. Yet, amidst the noise, there was a rhythm, a pattern that he slowly began to understand. The city was alive, and he was now a part of its heartbeat. He found a cramped room in a bustling neighborhood, his little haven in the concrete jungle. It was small, barely enough space to move around, but it was his. The walls were thin, and he could hear the sounds of the city even in his sleep. But it was a place he could call home, a sanctuary amidst the chaos. College was a different world, filled with students from backgrounds he could barely imagine. They came from cities, towns, and countries he had only read about. Each one had a story, a dream, a purpose. It was a melting pot of cultures, ideas, and aspirations. Abhi felt like a small fish in a vast ocean, but he was determined to make his mark. He excelled in his studies, his sharp mind and village work ethic setting him apart. The long hours in the library, the sleepless nights, the relentless pursuit of knowledge, it all paid off. His professors noticed his dedication, and his peers respected his intellect. He was on a path to success, but the journey was far from over. But the city had its dark underbelly, and Abhi soon found himself entangled in its web. The bright lights and bustling streets hid shadows that were easy to overlook. He discovered that beneath the surface, there were secrets, dangers, and temptations that could easily ensnare the unwary. He needed money for rent, for food, for books. The cost of living in the city was astronomical compared to his village. Every penny counted and the pressure was mounting. He juggled part-time jobs, but it was never enough. The financial strain was a constant weight on his shoulders. Desperation led him to Rana Bai, a man who exuded an aura of power and danger. Rana Bai was a figure whispered about in hushed tones, a man who could make problems disappear for a price. Abhi knew he was treading dangerous waters, but he felt he had no choice. Rana Bai offered Abhi a way out, a chance to earn quick money. The proposition was simple, almost too good to be true. All Abhi had to do was deliver packages, no questions asked. It seemed like an easy solution to his mounting problems. The work was simple, he said, just delivering packages. Abhi's job was to pick up the packages from one location and drop them off at another. It was straightforward and the pay was good. He didn't need to know what was inside the packages, and he didn't ask. Abhi, blinded by his circumstances, didn't question the nature of those packages. He ignored the red flags, the uneasy feeling in his gut. He convinced himself that it was just a temporary solution, a means to an end. He needed the money, and this was the quickest way to get it. He justified his actions by telling himself it was temporary, a means to an end. He would finish his studies, secure a good job, and then leave this life behind. It was a compromise, a necessary evil. He believed he could walk away unscathed once he achieved his goals. He would finish his studies, secure a good job, and then leave this life behind. The future seemed bright, a beacon of hope that kept him going. He envisioned a life of stability, success, and respect. But the path he was on was fraught with peril, and he was too deep to see the danger ahead. He didn't realize he was sinking deeper into a quagmire, each delivery pulling him further away from the light. The more he got involved, the harder it became to extricate himself. The city, with all its lights and shadows, was slowly consuming him, and he was losing sight of the way out. Amidst the turmoil of his new life, Arohi was a breath of fresh air. They met at the college library, her nose buried in a book, her brow furrowed in concentration. She was different from anyone Abhi had ever met, confident, outspoken, and fiercely intelligent. Her father was a police officer, her upbringing a stark contrast to his own. Their initial awkward conversations blossomed into a friendship that warmed Abhi's heart. They studied together, shared meals, and explored the city, their laughter echoing in the crowded streets. Arohi, with her infectious optimism and unwavering belief in justice, began to chip away at the darkness that had seeped into Abhi's life. He found himself drawn to her light, her unwavering moral compass, a stark reminder of the path he had strayed from. He wanted to tell her everything about Ranabhai, about the fear that gnawed at him. But the words wouldn't come, the fear of losing her stifling his confession. He clung to their moments together, cherishing the solace he found in her presence, knowing that his secret cast a long shadow over their budding love. The guilt gnawed at Abhiji, a constant companion to his fear. Arohi's father, a decorated police officer, often visited their college, his presence a stark reminder of the life Abhi was leading. He would listen to their conversations, their plans to make the city a better place, and his heart would clench. The chasm between his aspirations and his reality grew wider with each passing day. One evening, while walking Arohi home, they stumbled upon a police raid. Abhi froze, his blood turning to ice as he recognized the men being apprehended. They were Ranabhai's men. Arohi, unaware of Abhi's fear, spoke with a fiery conviction about the importance of standing up against injustice. That night, sleep eluded Abhi. Arohi's words echoed in his ears, her unwavering belief in him a searing indictment of his choices. The encounter with the police raid had shaken him, the reality of his situation hitting home. He was living a lie, betraying Arohi's trust and his own principles. He had to make a choice, continue down the path he was on, risking everything, or find the courage to break free. The decision to change was not easy. Abhi stood at the precipice of his life, staring into the abyss of uncertainty. The path ahead was shrouded in darkness, filled with unknown challenges and potential dangers. Yet deep within, he felt a flicker of hope, a small but persistent light guiding him forward. Fear was a powerful deterrent, whispering tales of consequences and retribution. The shadows of his past loomed large, casting long, intimidating silhouettes that threatened to pull him back into the abyss. Every step he took was accompanied by the haunting echoes of his previous misdeeds, reminding him of the price of failure. But Arohi's face, her unwavering faith in him, fueled his resolve. Her eyes, filled with trust and love, were his anchor in the storm. She believed in him when he struggled to believe in himself. Her faith was a beacon, illuminating the path he needed to take, giving him the strength to confront his fears. He would not let her down, nor would he let himself be consumed by the darkness. The fire within him burned brighter with each passing day, fueled by a determination to rise above his past. He clenched his fists, feeling the raw power of his resolve coursing through his veins. He was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. He would fight, not just for their love, but for the redemption of his own soul. Every morning, as the sun rose, he trained with unwavering dedication. The rhythmic clash of his sword against imaginary foes was a testament to his commitment. He ran along the beach, the cool breeze a reminder of the freedom he sought, the freedom from his past. He started subtly distancing himself from Ranabhai, fabricating excuses to avoid the deliveries. Each step away from the gang was a step towards his own liberation. He made phone calls with a serious expression, carefully crafting his alibis, ensuring that his departure would go unnoticed, at least for a while. He knew he needed evidence, something concrete to bring the gangster down. He began documenting everything meticulously. Every photograph he took, every note he jotted down, was a piece of the puzzle. He was building a case, brick by brick, determined to expose the truth and bring justice to those who had suffered. He started paying attention, noting down details, dates and locations, his mind becoming a steel trap. The more he observed, the clearer the picture became. He worked tirelessly, often late into the night, his laptop and notebook his constant companions. His mind was sharp, focused, and unyielding. The fear was still there, a constant knot in his stomach, but it was eclipsed by a newfound sense of purpose. His determination was palpable, etched into every line of his face. He stood tall, his posture a reflection of his inner strength. The fear that once paralyzed him now served as a reminder of what was at stake. He was no longer just Abhi, the boy from the village, nor was he Abhi, Ranabhai's errand boy. He had evolved, transformed by his experiences and the choices he made. Standing by the river, he reflected on his journey, the path he had walked alone. Each step had brought him closer to his true self. He was Abhi, the warrior, rising from the ashes of his mistakes, ready to fight for justice, for love, and for a brighter future. The mountain peak symbolized his triumph over adversity. The warrior posed his readiness for the battles ahead. He was no longer defined by his past, but by the strength of his spirit and the clarity of his purpose. He had tasted the allure of easy money, but he had also tasted the bitter aftertaste of betrayal and fear. The money he once counted with greed now felt like a burden, a reminder of the cost of his choices. The empty wallet symbolized the emptiness he felt inside, a void that could only be filled by doing what was right. He chose the path less traveled, the path of righteousness, of courage, of becoming the man he always aspired to be. The forest path was fraught with challenges, but it was also lined with the promise of redemption. At the crossroads, he made his decision, a choice that would define his future and shape his destiny. Abhi was ready to embrace his true calling, to become the warrior he was always meant to be.